Hello, my name is Tori. Did you know that marijuana is considered to be one of the oldest crops in the world? Marijuana dates back to thousands of years ago, back when colonists would use the herb for both textile, rope, and any other materials that they needed at the time. Now, ancient cultures used marijuana for medicine and healing, which is still used for today, but as well as religious ceremonies. With cannabis being one of the fastest growing industries in the country and being one of the most popular used illegal substances in the US today, there's around 22.2 million marijuana users per month. While marijuana remains illegal under federal law in the United States, this may hopefully change soon. In the next 6 to 8 minutes, I will explain to you why marijuana should be legalized in the United States. First, I will talk about the legalized marijuana will decrease both arrest, free DUI, and traffic deaths tremendously. Secondly, I will elaborate on how legalized marijuana would unlock thousands of job opportunities for people, making a very fast growing occupation. And thirdly and finally, I will discuss how the legalization of marijuana in the United States will lead to a safer environment as it helps decrease pollution and helps conserve water. Now, if marijuana was legalized in the United States, then both arrests for DUI and traffic deaths would be lowered due to the drivers under the influence of marijuana being more cautious and less risk takers compared to those who are intoxicated. Benjamin Hansen, who is an economics professor at the University of Oregon at Eugene, who studied traffic deaths post medical marijuana legalization, states that public safety would improve if there is more access to marijuana. There isn't much evidence on marijuana causing any on road driving accidents or injury, and this is because of the drivers overcompensate the self perception they have, hence driving slower and making less lane changes. According to the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration Fatality Analysis Reporting System, there's an increase in driving reaction times, impaired time and distance estimation, and decreased motor coordination for up to 3 hours after the dosage impairment of marijuana. With this evidence in mind, if marijuana was legalized in the US, then not only would car accidents be decreased, but there would be more access to job opportunities as they will be unlocked for everyone. Which brings me into my second point, which is that if marijuana was legalized in the United States, then the cannabis industry will provide jobs for thousands of people who are living in the US. There's multiple types of occupations to choose from when there's like from farmer to accountant or even lawyer. California still remains the nation's leader in cannabis jobs, with 57,970 full-time equivalent jobs and more than 3.7 billion in cannabis sales only in 2020. Now, the year after that, they outdid themselves with 5.1 billion in retail sales and 83,607 jobs. This isn't the only state with a high amount of occupations, because according to BritannicaProcon.org, within a few years of legalization, approximately 18,000 additional full time jobs were created in Colorado annually, both in both in the actual marijuana business, as well as related fields such as security and real estate. This goes to show that legalizing marijuana can make previously illegal jobs into legal ones and overall increase the revenue in the states. With legalization, there would be an urgent demand for marijuana instead of alcohol, for example, and legalized dispensaries would pay taxes, which would then again increase the revenue. New Mexico had legalized marijuana just over a year ago, and Sarah Stitt, who is an assistant professor of economics from the University of New Mexico, states our results suggest that by preventing countries from banning dispensaries, New Mexico's approach to legalizing cannabis will yield more widespread employment benefits than those experienced in Colorado. In fact, we may already have been experiencing of some of the benefits as producers begin preparing for dispensaries to open in April 2022. The speed of legal cannabis job growth exceeds as the number one full-time cannabis jobs has doubled in 2018 has skyrocketed by 161% over the last 4 years. The industry is only improving. There may be job openings for near chemists, communication experts, engineering experts, and overall bringing professional trade and skill into the cannabis industry. Now, consumer safety is very important, which leads me to my third and final reason as to why marijuana should be legalized. And it's not only for safe for the buyers to use, and they won't be worried about any pesticides or chemicals in the herb, but also the planet, as the herbicides could affect plants that are important to both wildlife and survival. Now, Nikki Gloutman, who's a news reporter for Change.org, an environmental advocate, mentions that surreptitious growers illegally colonizing remote forest lands and moving pesticides, waste, and irrigation tubes into otherwise pristine ecosystems is nothing short of a toxic scourge. Glaubman then goes on to mention that legalizing weed and cleaning things up substantially as the growing would both eliminate the strain on public lands and meet high standards for the use and disposal of toxic substances. The legalization of cannabis cultivation can benefit the agricultural land that it grows on because ideal for seasonal farmers who partake in the crop rotation. Now, additionally, once used in the crop rotation in the long term, the plant can keep the soil fertile without the use of the toxic herbicides. Not only this, but using cannabis in the crop rotation could encourage farmers to switch to sustainable practice, which we should do, as well as it being good for the land, air, and organic farming. It's always safer and better for the planet. Cannabis doesn't need much pesticide or fertilizer at all compared to other crops. When man-made pesticides and fertilizers are used, this leads to a chemical runoff, as well as even dead zones, which leads to a growth of phytoplankton, which can leave a certain bacteria that consumes oxygen. Legalizing marijuana will reduce the amount of energy that's being produced, as most people tend to grow marijuana in their homes. If it's grown outdoors, this means less energy will be required for the marijuana because you have to use specific lighting and have a certain atmosphere in order to grow marijuana. The carbon footprint would decrease as well, since the lights that the plants need would be photosynthesis playing a part, and their light could be naturally provided by the sun instead of using fluorescent light bulbs. The legalization of weed has many environmental benefits, as I just mentioned, and if legalizing it in all states, then you're supporting a decision that's supporting a climate solution. We had just finished exploring the reasons why marijuana in the United States should be legalized. Many debate that the evidence of state legalization and regulation has proven to be successful in unlocking job opportunities for people, decreasing traffic accidents, and keeping the environment clean and healthy. As I mentioned before, cannabis has always been around, and it was once a decades old illicit industry to its now legal retail and adult use industry. It's important to analyze every aspect of what the legalization of marijuana can lead to. So it's time for the government, especially and the rest of the nation, to decide whether or not cannabis should be illegal. Thank you.